Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to IVMF's LetNet webinars. My name is Ellis Savdic, and I'm happy to say today is our second webinar series with LinkedIn. IVMF has partnered up with LinkedIn to bring you this second part webinar series on leveraging your LinkedIn for your professional success. Today with us, we have 6 LinkedIn members here, and they're going to introduce themselves shortly here. But before we get started, I just want to make sure that if you do have any questions, please type in the chat box or raise your hand and we'll get to you. The way this session today will go is that we'll have Sarah Roberts and her LinkedIn team go over a couple of the volunteer LinkedIn profiles. And then the second half of the session will break out into the rooms. We'll have 6 breakout rooms. Each of you participants are able to choose which room you go to. If you're having difficulties choosing a room because of your Zoom is not updated, let me know, type in a chat, and I can manually put you in the room. That being said, this first half of the session is being recorded. And if you have registered for this session, you will receive a recorded follow-up survey and recorded link to the webinar. And anything that is being shared here, we'll make sure to include in the survey follow-up. So definitely take a survey, it's only 2 minutes. Let us know how we did, what other future webinars you would like to see. And we make sure you provide those. That being said, for the folks on here, if you're not speaking, please mute yourself so we have clear audio. And Sarah, welcome, and please introduce yourself briefly, and your team members can introduce themselves as well, and we can kick off the session.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you to the Institute for Veterans and Military Families for setting up this time and space. I am Sarah Roberts. I lead LinkedIn's Military and Veterans Program and am really looking forward to the opportunity today to work with some of you and walk through your LinkedIn profiles. As you can tell, we're very passionate about LinkedIn and our platform's ability to connect folks to economic opportunities. So hopefully we can share some tips and best practices today. So I'll go ahead and hand over to some of the other folks on my team so they can each do a quick intro. Let's see, Nelson, you're the next one on my screen. So maybe I'll just toss it over to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nelson. I'm an insights analyst for our marketing solutions product. And happy to be here. Pass it off to Tommy. Oh, you're on mute, Tommy.
Thanks, Nelson. I appreciate it. Always happens. Hey, everyone. My name is Tommy Goodell. Been with LinkedIn now a little over 3 years, and been working with Sarah quite a bit, just supporting the veterans community. So excited to be here. Sorry, I'll pass it over to Niraj.
Thanks, Tommy. Hi, everyone. So nice to meet you all. Really happy to be here. I'm Niraj. I've been at LinkedIn for a couple of years now. I live in New York City. I'm originally from Los Angeles, and I work as a relationship manager here at LinkedIn doing sales. Pass it off to Kimberly.
Hey everyone, my name is Kim. I've been at LinkedIn now for 3 years. I run digital marketing programs for our hiring business. Fun fact, I guess, is my dad was he was in the Navy for 20 years, so I actually grew up as a military brat. Pass it off to Tracy.
Thanks, Kim. Hi, everyone. My name is Tracy Bassman. I am based out of the New York metro area, and I've been with LinkedIn for about 2.5 years, and I currently manage a team of customer success managers who work on LinkedIn Learning. So I will pass it back to Sarah, I think, to continue on.
Perfect. Thank you, Tracy, and thank you everyone from the LinkedIn team for joining us today. So what I'll do, I had gotten a wonderful list from Elvis and of some folks that were willing to share their profiles that we could walk through. So Elvis, if you're okay with it, I am happy to jump in. I have those up on my browser and we can walk through some of those. And then I would just ask, the LinkedIn team, my teammates here to add anything that they might have from their perspective as we walk through some of those profiles. But we'll go ahead and kick that off unless there's something you want to lead with, Elvis, or if there was Q&A you wanted to jump into first.
You're good. Please
Okay.
share your screen and be done.
All right, we'll do that. Just give me a second. Okay, and of course it closed out on me here. Okay, are you guys able to see my screen yet? Let's see, let's take it off the double.
I
I
think
see your
we can.
screen, but not your browser. So you may be sharing the wrong screen. There we go. Now we see the profiles.
Okay, sorry about this, you guys. I had it up and running, and in typical fashion, I had two things open. So I am sorry about this. Let's see if this will come. Oh, okay. Hang on, let me stop sharing because I've got all of the browsers. I have like 5 browsers open, and for whatever reason, my computer has frozen up on me.
Sarah, do you want me to just share the first profile and I can share my screen? Would that make life easier?
That would be amazing. Yes, please. If you don't
Okay.
mind driving, I will work on mine, and then I'll give you a thumbs up when I get my
Yeah, no
computer
problem. I am
running.
more than happy to
Thank
share.
you.
No problem. Okay, so I have Terry up first, who kindly volunteered to share her profile. So we'll get started with Terry. So some things that I love about Terry's profile is, one, she's sharing that she is open to work. So that is a filter that you can add if you are looking to find a new and exciting career. You can add that banner to your profile. I also love the fact that Terry has a banner across the back of her profile as well. And her picture is beautiful. It's nice, it's clear, it's just her head and shoulders. And she looks like, I'm assuming that she always looks like. So some things to avoid in profile pictures: no pictures from weddings or proms, and no pictures with the creepy hand of someone who's got their arm around you in the picture too. All good things to avoid in profile pictures. It should, like Terry, be just like you and just head and shoulders. No knees and toes in this one either. So some things that are great with Terry's profile is she is sharing a little bit of her background. You don't have to use your title underneath your name, as military pictures are okay as well, to show that you are a veteran. So that is totally appropriate also. So thank you for that picture, Frank, or for that question rather. So some things about Terry is she's got a nice, short and sweet description that gives her her background. It describes her as a military spouse, talks about some of her passion, about what she does in her spare time as well. So it gives us a nice overview of kind of who Terry is and what opportunities she's looking for. She's also leveraged the featured section, which is a great opportunity to be able to share some of those different things about you that you might find important. You can also share some experience about your military experience or your experience as a military spouse or family member as well. I love the fact that she's also included a certificate in this featured section. If your skill set is that in something like design or programming, you can also feature those aspects as well. So something to show off some of your professional prowess in addition in that featured section. So it will also support things like video files or links to websites also. Terry's pretty active in sharing with her general network, which is fantastic. She also has a good layout of her experience, and she's also included her experience as part of the PTA, as that parent-teacher association. There's a lot of great transferable skills from volunteer experience into work experience as well. So if you have any kind of volunteer experience, you can highlight it under experience and also under the volunteer section as you are sharing your information. You can feel free to share your education. That is also a great opportunity to be able to network, whether it's through high school or certification programs or university. That is a great way to find other people, to be able to expand your network outside of your military connections, to go out bigger and beyond. Love the fact that a lot of these licenses and certifications are from LinkedIn and from LinkedIn Learning. Always love to see that. As part of this organization, you have access to LinkedIn Learning, which can also help you fill in a few different skills gaps and opportunities to find that free LinkedIn Learning and LinkedIn Premium subscription. It's under these lovely little waffles in the upper right-hand corner here, and you have access to LinkedIn Learning. So you have the ability to go in and find courses on everything from how to play the ukulele, which may not necessarily help you get a job or network, but you never know, there could be some awesome ukulele groups out there. But you can also learn things like Java and some soft skills like communication, dealing with conflict, all sorts of, and become a manager. Lots of different opportunities to learn a really wide variety of things. I think we're up to about 17,000 courses available now on LinkedIn Learning. So take advantage of that. And then once you gain those skills through LinkedIn Learning, you can also add those to your LinkedIn profile as well. I love the fact that Terry has a lot of beautiful volunteer experience here as well. Again, those skills as a volunteer can translate really well into job opportunities if that is your goal. It is also a fantastic way to be able to network within volunteer organizations. So those folks that you do know through volunteering, be sure to reach out to them on LinkedIn as another way of expanding your network beyond the military community as well, to get those folks out in more of a corporate space. And volunteering is a great way to connect there. Terry has also filled out her skills and endorsements. A great way to get an endorsement that can be a little uncomfortable, to go out there and be like, hey, endorse me, I'm awesome. Of course, you're all awesome, but it can feel a little funny to ask. So a nice way to be able to get those endorsements is to offer one. So it's kind of a give one, get one. You can also pre-draft it. So if you have ever asked for a recommendation letter, sometimes it's a lot easier for someone to write one for you if you've already provided them with a draft. So you can also offer to write a recommendation for some of the folks in your network and then ask for one in return. That makes it a little bit easier to get those endorsements, and that helps recruiters find you and see which of those skills that you have. Terry is super awesome. She also has some honors and awards that she's listed under accomplishments, and she has some interests as well that she shared with her network and with her community. So well done, Terry. Thank you so much for sharing your profile and enabling us to highlight some of those best practices that you have within your profile. Sarah, do you have one that you want to share?
Yes, I sure can. Let's give this another shot. Thank you, Tracy, for doing that. Okay, awesome. So are you guys able to see Catherine's profile on my screen? Awesome. So Catherine, thank you for being willing to share your profile if you are on the call. Some of the things that I think are just fantastic about your profile are you have definitely gone above and beyond to think about your profile picture and your background photo. So I love background photos because I think it's just such a unique opportunity to tell a little bit more about your story, maybe what you're passionate about, or some type of personal or professional affiliation. So I think that that is great. I also think it's great how you've added in some of the hashtags. I'm guessing you maybe have turned on creator mode, maybe not, but I love that you have highlighted some of the hashtags on your top bar up there. So as we go down, I think, the fact that you are leveraging LinkedIn as a tool is fantastic. Activity is really important as you think of, not just growing connections, but also having visibility on the platform. One of the things we always talk about in the military community is that LinkedIn is such a wonderful way to not just pay it forward, but also add value to those who are, actively in transition. So military community is super tight knit. I think it's a great place to lean on. Just by liking and sharing content and engaging content, you're helping support and add value to the community. So that's fantastic. You've done a really good job of, adding in your about section. I love this space because it's a way for you to tell a little bit more about your professional story, what you're passionate about. I think that one thing that differentiates LinkedIn from just a classic resume is, you're able to tell a little bit more holistically about who you are. You're able to weave in more of your passions and interests, which is a great way to start to build some of those connections with employers, recruiters, and even just other folks in your network. So great job there. And again, investing the time in building out your experience. So I find that this can oftentimes feel the most daunting and the hardest as you're trying to summarize your past experience, but also look for future opportunities or whatever you're exploring. And so just being really thoughtful about how you invest in articulating your professional experience. And you've done just a really great job. And any time that you can reference materials or documents or presentations or any type of thought leadership that you have that you want to weave into your LinkedIn profile is fantastic. And again, I had seen a question earlier on the featured section. So that's something you can add in. You could also add some of those documents to your featured section at the top of your profile. So that's a great way to weave in maybe projects or things that you have led and been a part of. And then again, as we scroll down, one piece that is really important to highlight is that Tracy had also talked about is the importance of investing and adding your skills to your LinkedIn profile. So you can spotlight the top 3, or you can choose the ones that are the top 3 that show up, but you can also list up to 50. And so one thing that I would recommend is just thinking about, are there other skills that you would want to add to your LinkedIn profile? So again, it looks like you might not quite have 50, but again, that's a great way to continue to add up to those 50 skills on your LinkedIn profile. That's also something that, recruiters that are using the LinkedIn Talent Solutions product or, there's an actual filter to search for skills. And so you want to maximize adding as many skills as you can to your LinkedIn profile. And then again, interests. I think this is really helpful. One is you're exploring, different companies you might be interested in or following, certain pages that, spark your interest. That's a great way to start to build your feed with content that is important and that is relevant to you. And so, yeah, I think that the more active you are on the platform and adding value is just tremendous as you think about growing your network and finding different opportunities. So thank you, Catherine, for being willing to share your amazing LinkedIn profile. I have one more up, but I'll open it up to some of the other folks on my team and see if there's any that they would like to walk through. If not, I'm happy to jump over into this next tab. Okay, I'll take that as a cue. Okay, so for this LinkedIn profile, thank you for sharing this one. The one piece that I would highlight is just name. And so A. Irving, if that is what you go by, that's great. If not, I would definitely spell out your full name. And then also there were some questions earlier as we kicked off around adding a profile picture. I think adding a profile picture, it definitely helps personalize a little bit, but I also understand that there's some hesitation. If you work in a particular field or you're worried about adding that in. So certainly want to flag that as well. I think adding the background photo is great because in this instance, when I look at the profile picture and I look at the background one, I get a sense that this person is a paralegal, they work in some type of legal profession. That's an area that they're focused in. And so I can quickly glean that from the profile picture and the background photo. And then again, also, as you have that high up summary with some of the things that you're focused on talking about, you have those hashtags, and I think that that's super helpful. And then the other piece is you've been thoughtful about adding in litigation paralegal, litigation support, and trainer to that top part of your LinkedIn profile. So as we scroll down, activity, you definitely have some activity. That's great. It always feels, I always find the hardest place to start is getting comfortable and being active on the platform. And so taking that plunge can feel a little vulnerable at times. And so I think it's great that you've started to do that and started to post some different things on LinkedIn that really help demonstrate your experience and thought leadership. And all of those are going to add value to growing your network and sharing some of your expertise. Okay, as we transition down to experience, I think this is a great opportunity to, start to be forward looking about the areas that you're passionate and want to go into. I think just adding a little bit more around what you do as a litigation support paralegal, building that up a little bit will be super helpful. You might not have a lot of bullets to add, but you might also want to weave in maybe a higher level summary and some bullets of successes or accomplishments that you're most proud of. It looks like you've been in the role for 6 years. And so I would imagine that you certainly have some awesome things that you would want to share or amplify or highlight as a result of your experience. Education is great, as is the LinkedIn certifications that Tracy amplified. Anytime we see LinkedIn certifications, I think that's fantastic. You've definitely dug in there, and hopefully you've used your free premium benefit to do that. And again, in this one, just going back to the skills, we shared this on the other profile, but being thoughtful about adding in more skills. So you have the top 3 listed, but you can certainly add more. So again, you can list up to 50 skills. That's a great way to highlight your experience or other areas, both hard and soft skills that you might want to leverage in adding to your LinkedIn profile. And again, the interests. So you have some of those interests, that's great. Clearly ties to the things that you're most interested in. And I think that that is going to continue to help populate your LinkedIn feed with relevant content, which is always an easy way to start to engage, whether it's liking or commenting, or just, using your news feed as a way to stay on top of things that are happening in the world. So those are some just high level pieces of feedback from my end. I will go ahead and open it up to my team. If there's anybody else on the LinkedIn front that would like to jump in and share a couple of profiles or walk through them or add any feedback to this one in particular.
I can go ahead and jump in, Sarah, if you would like me to.
Awesome, Tommy, that would be lovely.
Let me go ahead and share my screen. And you guys can see my screen, correct?
Yes, we can.
Awesome, thanks. So yeah, thanks for volunteering, everybody who I'm about to go through. So first up, we have Dr. Ann James. Thanks for sharing your profile. Definitely looks very professional. We can see the background photo, Queen Crisp profile photo as well. We have our this section built out: financial educator, Freedom Battle Buddies of Color podcast speaker, veteran. So definitely starts to give me some insight on who you are and what you do. And sorry, I am working through a little bit of a sore throat, so bear with me here. Getting into the activity section, looks like we can see a lot of activity. You're commenting on things, sharing things, being tagged in things. Sounds like you're planning something big for 2022, and definitely want to learn more about that. So very exciting stuff there. When we start to get down to the experience section, here's probably the biggest area of opportunity for you. So it sounds like you're starting up your own company, which is really exciting, and it looks like you've been doing it for 3 years. So I definitely want to learn more about what you're doing day to day. Just from the your headline, it sounds like there's a lot of exciting things. I just want to learn more essentially about that. One thing that you could do as well is build out a page on LinkedIn, more of a company profile page, where you can put your company logo there, just to clean this picture up right here. And then it'll point people who are looking at your services or company towards that page where they can learn even more about it. You can link your website there as well. And then moving down, we have a couple of bullet points here, but again, I just want to know a little bit more, right? So, kind of throw me into your shoes a little bit. Tell me, why you were there, what you were doing, and then lead with some of the bullet points there. And, we can see a couple more, but just give me a little bit more excited. I feel like we have a great hook right here to get people to view your profile, but I just want to learn a little bit more. And I think that'll kind of trickle down to some of your other areas of your profile as well. So for the Armed Forces Corp, you could probably tie this to, whether it's the Air Force or something different, again, just to have that company logo there. And then again, I'd think of it as like 2 or 3 sentences to throw me into what you were doing, and then the bullet points, following, more along the lines of what may be on your resume. So again, kind of covered this area. We have the education, which is great. Licenses and certifications, this looks great as well. One thing you could do if you need to, brush up on other, financial analyst skills or financial counseling skills, you can take some courses on LinkedIn Learning around those areas just to reinforce that you do have these fantastic skills, which I'm sure you do. But just a minor area to call out. And then we have your interests, which looks great there. So I'd say, a job well done for sure. But just I want to learn a lot more. So that is this profile. Anybody else from LinkedIn just want to jump in here? Anything I'm missing? Cool. Well, I will move to the next one. So next profile we have to review, I believe, I may say this name wrong, so help me out if you're on the line. Quinn, is that correct? Am I close? I can't see the chat, so I'll go with that, but apologies ahead of time if I'm messing that up. So as far as activity goes, we definitely have an opportunity just to engage with more people, whether it's in your area of expertise from your school, or in kind of the area you want to move forward in. And we have our about section here. So your goal is to secure a full-time position. Tell me just a little bit more about what the ideal role looks like, right? I understand kind of what skills you want to use, but what does that, if I had 3 different roles for you to choose from, which one would be the one you'd move forward with? I'd be interested to learn more about that. And I think that'll help you frame the rest of your profile just on what points you'd like, whether it's recruiters to see or talk about or kind of highlight within your profile. The background looks great, photo looks great. But yeah, just give me a little bit more here around the about section, maybe about what you're currently doing. So I like to think about it as like a past, present, and future. So in the past, I did XYZ. Currently, I'm pursuing, XYZ, and in the future, I'd like to see something along this line. Again, it kind of helps me jump right into your shoes to see what kind of situation you're in and where somebody, whether it's in your network, could help or lean in. So as far as the experience section goes, this seems like a great story. You've been in Germany for, I don't know if you're still there, but you were there for, almost 3 years as an educational aide/teacher for the Department of Defense. This seems like a really cool story. I don't know if a lot of people have done this. So I think, again, there's a cool opportunity for you to story tell just a little bit more about what you're doing and why you were there. And then, these bullet points look great as far as increasing their work efficiency by 20%. We have tangible outcomes, but I'd like to just learn more about the story, and then I think these bullet points would be a little bit more powerful on what you're there to achieve. And then moving down, I think the same applies to some of these areas as well. So if we think about, your core objective is to secure that full-time position. Once we know what that is, I think we can tailor these bullet points a little bit more around what key skills are in that ideal next play or next position for you. And then it'll kind of flesh out the really relevant skills or highlight certain things that you achieved. You might have one of those kind of light bulb moments really when kind of going through your profile. As far as education goes, one thing to call out, you can definitely link this to the University of Arkansas. If there is a company page there, and maybe connect with other alumni there, see if they can help for any warmer introductions, which is great. And then we have a lot of cool licenses and certifications. Again, the shameless plug, you can always use LinkedIn Learning to develop some new skills as well. And then we have skills and endorsements, which I really like, as well as recommendations. I can see, you've received a great recommendation. So maybe there's some others from other people that you've worked with. But otherwise, still a job well done. Any other thoughts from the LinkedIn team here?
Just one call out from like something I've heard before is when you think about your experience and framing everything, I think you have a lot of really great experience, as Tommy mentioned. But as you think about like that next role, like it's possible to tie in some of your like past experience and shape that overall narrative. And then one more piece is some advice I've heard is like recruiters tend to look in the location that they're hiring in. So if you want to be in a specific location as part of your next play, you may want to change your, I don't know if you want to stay in Germany, but if you do, I think it's a great location. But if you're looking for another location or opportunity or place you want to move to, it may be worth adding that to your profile, just so recruiters who are searching for you can find you. Also, sorry, also lost my voice. I'm a weekend student, so I had 12 hours of class this last weekend, and we're still recovering here.
Thanks, Kim. I appreciate it. Great call outs for sure. Definitely stuff I was missing there. So I appreciate you jumping in. Cool. So I'll move on to the next profile for review. Matt, I think Matt's just jumped on the line. So thanks for jumping in here. This is definitely a really interesting profile. So moving to Australia, ready to work in naval engineering and defense industries. So I think this is, pretty straight to the point, looks great. I think for like my next job offer, my next job should offer me, maybe there's an opportunity to add a couple more like titles or keywords there, just around roles that interest you. Definitely, I'm no naval engineering expert, but I know there's probably some pretty advanced titles that a lot of things could fall into. And I'm sure there's some recruiters or people looking for very specific skills that you have that you may not be just getting captured in. So just a quick thing to call out there. As far as the about section goes, again, definitely with somebody with like 31 years of military experience, you've done probably a lot of awesome things that not a lot of people have done. So how I'd frame it, again, and I've said this from the first profile review, is more the past, present, and future state. So for me as a recruiter or a hiring manager, I can just jump right into your shoes, understand your story and what you have gone through and what you are doing now. So then I can make that fit or talk to a hiring manager about you a little bit easier. So this is definitely a good starting point, but I think you can definitely enhance this a little bit more to flesh out some key things about what you've done. As far as activity goes, I think especially if you're moving into a new pretty much country, definitely for you looking for a high level role in a new country, definitely networking and making connections, following companies that are in that area are going to be really important for you. So if you're not doing that already, definitely keep engaging with that content just for more visibility and finding new connections that way. Getting into the experience section. So again, it looks like you have your own consulting company right now. It may be worth your while to set up your own company page on LinkedIn where you could put, a company logo, share more about what your company does. Maybe there's some good consulting engagements you've done. Maybe there's articles associated with that or videos that we can tie in there and show off some of the work that you've already been doing, which I'm sure is fantastic stuff. So an area there. And then moving into this section, so this looks great. And it's really hard just to summarize 30 years of experience, in any given company. How I would break it down, so we have, a couple of your roles here. These are probably your major ones. How I would think about it is, again, 2 or 3 sentences telling me, why you were there, what you were doing there, and then a couple of the key bullet points. Again, these roles look really, really interesting. And I'm sure, you were managing 5,000 personnel who worked on a base. There has to be more to that. And I think when you find that right role, I think that'll help you develop keywords and bullet points where you'll definitely have, again, one of those light bulb moments where you're like, oh, wait, I have done that, or I have had a similar situation that I've been in that ties in perfectly to whether it's a new consulting engagement or, the ideal role you're looking for. So probably what I would do if I were you is, find a couple roles that look interesting to you, and then see if the bullet points of those key skills are within your experience section, because that's where we want to be able to story tell these stories to differentiate yourself. It'll help highlight really just all the great experience we have here. I just want to see more of it, essentially, especially for the very, probably specialized roles you're going after. Definitely a big opportunity for you here. And I'd say a lot of the same for this, just tell me more, get some of those, key responsibilities and bullet points in here, as well as the story as to why you're there. Especially for somebody like me who doesn't have ties to the military specifically. I just want to be able to story tell a little bit so I know what's going on and I can get the gist of, really what you're responsible for, because there's a lot of great things here. I just want to make sure you're getting credit for it, essentially. Education looks great. Definitely encourage you to, look through kind of alumni in this area, see if anybody's at maybe some of your target companies and start networking from there. Then we have a lot of great skills and endorsements as well. There may be some things on LinkedIn Learning as well, just to, reinforce some of the great skills you have. But other than that, a job well done for sure. Really just minor things to think about. So I hope this was helpful. Anybody else from LinkedIn want to jump in?
Yeah, Tommy, I don't mind jumping in for a second. Matt,
Yeah.
just a great call out on having that open to work. Sorry, can you hear me all right? I know my Wi-Fi is a little choppy.
You're good. I can hear you.
Okay, thanks. Always getting that unstable notification. Great call out with the profile to have open to work. I think that's just a reminder for everyone on the call. If you are actively looking and you're okay being public about it, to have that kind of turned on. So it's just an extra, hey to hiring managers that I'm open to an interview over here. Tommy, do you mind scrolling down to the education section really quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. I love to see all this different education over here. One just quick recommendation to think about is actually just maybe specifying what kind of education you received at each university, whether one's an executive course or some kind of program or a bachelor's, whatever it might be. I'm just offering a little bit more clarity. Might be something to consider adding to the profile. Also, one thing I wanted to share, if you don't mind, Tommy, can I share my screen for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. So I want to share one of the tips that I've learned on LinkedIn. Go to your own profile. Just wanted to call out on the upper right-hand corner over here, edit public profile and URL. This is a really cool one that a lot of people don't really know about on LinkedIn. First call out, just customizing the URL on your profile. The reason this is important is I've always actually put my LinkedIn URL on my resume, like under my name. I put it there with my phone number and my email address. Totally up to you. You can also make it hyperlinked if you want, but it just makes it look really clean and concise to have it shortened to your first name, last name, however you kind of want to formulate that, but just something to consider looking into. And over here, this is how your profile actually looks to everyone else. The reason I thought of this is I remember in the beginning of the call, one person's first name was just an initial. That could have been intentional, but also it could be something to look at your settings over here. For example, you can see what's actually seen to a public person. So for anyone who is looking at your profile, it's on LinkedIn, this is actually the view that they see. So just something to keep in mind in case you have any of these turned off, or in case you want to intentionally turn any of these off, something to look at over here for sure. That was it. Appreciate it. Thanks for letting me share my screen, Tommy.
Yeah, absolutely. And those were all the profiles I had to review. So I didn't know if anybody else wanted to jump in.
One quick thank you all. Are we, do we want to head into the breakout rooms, Elvis? I just want to be cognizant of time.
Yes, so right now, thank you all of you for sharing. Now we're gonna spend probably around 15 to 18 minutes in the breakout rooms. All of the LinkedIn members will have a room for themselves. So definitely this is your time and opportunity to hop around in each of the room and ask personal questions, like was it Frank here that had a lot of questions? Definitely, you can ask questions. If they have any more LinkedIn profiles to share, they will share. If you want to, submit your LinkedIn profile in the discussion room, definitely do so. This is time for you to get any one-on-one, kind of session personal with LinkedIn members here for any questions you may have about your LinkedIn profile and what you should have on. So I'm going to open up the rooms, and if you are not able to join the room, just let me know and I'll be able to manually assign you to the room. Welcome back, everyone. I understand that was such a short time. We understand breakout rooms, like time flies very quickly, but we want to be respectful of everyone's time because we want to keep this under 1 hour. So I just want to see if anybody had any awesome, great feedback to share with the rest of the individuals here on that you may be discussing in these rooms. Any last advice, suggestions? Thank you all. So definitely, I'll try to put in a follow-up survey, all the links that have been shared with the LinkedIn members, and I'll make sure I put a link to this recording as well. Please do take a 2-minute short survey. Let us know how we did, and we'll definitely try to get more opportunities for you to join our VetNet webinars. Also, don't forget this Thursday is our live stream from Veteran Edge Conference. So we're gonna stream live session on the state of veteran entrepreneurship. So definitely if you have time, join us at 11:45 a.m. this Thursday. That being said, Sarah, Niraj, Tommy, Nelson, Tracy, Kimberly, thank you all so much for being here. We do appreciate it, all your time and efforts and everything that you shared today with us. And thank you all for sharing your LinkedIn profiles. We did had an awesome time. We'll definitely, if you didn't get a chance to get your profile reviewed, let us know. I'll reach out to Sarah and maybe she can provide some comments and feedback on it.
Absolutely happy to. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.